we're excited about our team. I think any coach gets excited whenever you have some returning players that played significant roles from the year before, and that's what we have is a lot of returning players who have experience, who experienced some success last year, a little bit of success last year. Hopefully we've learned a lot from last year. Hopefully our guys, they fully understand, I think at this point, what makes us a good basketball team and what has held us back at times. It's been good that we've gotten the early start time for practice is concerned, because what it's allowed us to do is I have not yet, and we're headed into week 3. I have not yet put a starting 5 together or anything. I've always divided up the teams evenly in practice, which is in turn given us an incredible amount of competition. It's a high-level competition in practice because these guys are going against each other, and we've made the teams as fair as possible. So that's because of the early start time. We've been able to do that. When you've had the later start time, you go ahead and try to put your top 5 or 6 together, and you're a little more rushed. But this basketball team has been very competitive in practice, very competitive. I think in 2 weeks we've had one bad practice that I would consider not very good, not very productive. Their attitudes have been great. We've had good leadership. And I'm sure you'll ask me, but everybody the returners, nobody has really surprised. They all kind of been what we thought. Some of the new guys have surprised a little bit. It has been different, though. The early start time is different. It is different. It has made us really analyze how you manage this early start time. You got to really manage it, especially with a returning team. If you had a really young team, nobody knew what they were doing, it would probably go by a little bit quicker. But with our team, veteran guys, we can already tell in practice they're ready to play against somebody else, and we still have 2 to 2.5 more weeks before we play our first exhibition game. So you got to really manage it.
Talk about the new rule.
The new rule, we from talking to our head of officials, Curtis Shaw, and to different people, they said it's the most defining rule change he's ever seen. That it's going to change the game probably more than anything's changed the game since maybe the three-point line. I think the way we're approaching it, we've talked to our team about. I think it helps us in many ways on the offensive end. How we play and do certain things. But also I think, some people I think are going to take this rule as to you can't play defense. I think the team that says, hey, we're going to figure out how to become a great defensive team within the rules, with what the rules say, I think that's the teams that are going to be successful. You can still play great defense. You can still stop teams if you got to adapt to the rules, but you just can't say, which I think a lot of people might, as the officials are saying, that they want it to all be offense. They'll tell you that. They don't care about winning and losing. We all understand defense and rebounding wins championships, wins games. They don't care about that, which it's not their problem. But for us, we understand defense wins, and we got to learn to play great defense within the rules.
Explain the rule, though, exactly.
Can't touch anybody. Can't touch them, period. If a ball handler is facing the rim, you cannot touch them in any way, shape, or form. Nowhere. Can't touch them. The moment you touch them with a fingertip, a pinky, they say they are going to call a foul. Now, in the post, with their back to the basket, you might get a little bit of bump. But I think they're even going to call it closer there because all they're talking about is more offense. That's all they're talking about, more offense. We want more offense. We don't want 50s and stuff. I've heard that from the 50. We don't want any 50s and 60s. We want 70s and 80s. So I think they're going to take it to the extreme. I really do. I think they're going to call it close. I think they've really warned the officials, and I think if they don't call it, there's, I guess, penalties for that. I don't know. But if you're facing the rim, if a guy in the post catches it and turns and faces, you cannot touch him. You cannot touch him. If a guy's dribbling it up the court and he's getting in the paint and he's coming at you, you cannot touch him. And That's one. That's the biggest rule change. And two, the 1A and 1B. 1B would be there's no charges anymore. We were told there will be no. If you are in the paint, there is no such thing as a charge anymore. Forget the line. Forget all that. We were told there are no more charges.
Do you like that?
As I expressed, no, I don't. What I would like is the game to be called. If you understand the game and you're official, you understand the game. You got to know what is prohibit. What if somebody touches a guy and it's not hurt? I would like to just call the game if something's going to be. If it's prohibiting something we're doing, or something, it should be a foul every time. But to get to this point, and they're not afraid to tell you. They are not afraid to tell you. 100% not afraid. It is all about offense. They want more offense. They want more offense. And we get that. But, I think it's taken away a lot of, and I love basketball, I love the history. It's taken a lot of the game. It's taken a lot of the preparation a little bit out of it. I mean, and it is a major change. I mean, I wish it just, call a foul, but at least we know what it is. They say they're going to stick to it, so we'll go with it and run with it. But they want more points. It's going to slow the game down. I mean, you may have 2.5-hour games. You're going to shoot a lot of free throws, and they know that. They sit there and say, yeah, there might be 70 fouls called the first game. There might be, they fully grasp. They understand all that. They get it all. At least they, But the way it's been put to me is don't put your hand on them because it's going to be called, period. And we had our first inter-squad scrimmage with referees, Big 12 referees, major referee, and we had a 30-minute scrimmage. We played 3 10-minute quarters, and we changed teams each 10 minutes. But after those 30 minutes was over, we had 70 fouls called. 70 fouls.
Travis, it would seem both ways with this rule that athleticism and being in tip-top shape, those will be deciding factors. And obviously, you would think those would play into your team pretty well.
Well, they do, and we've told our team this is a lot. I think this could be a positive for our team. I think also you got to add in their teams with length on the perimeter because you're going to have to gap guys. But if you can still gap them and play with some space, you're going to have to play with space. Have to. As our head official said, you should not be it's going to be tough for anybody to press. Well, I don't agree with that. You learn how to press within the rules, But teams with a little bit more length with some quickness, I think it could help. And we do have length on the perimeter, and we recruit length and we do a lot of different things. But guys with versatility. But when you talk about you can't put your hand on anybody and you can't take a charge, not a whole lot else left to stop the guy from getting to the rim. There's not a whole lot left to stop a guy from getting to the rim. I mean, so you better, we started yesterday practicing it more and more, how to guard the ball. I think it comes into play. You better be great on rotations. You better be really good at rotating from weak side and helping each other out. And you better be really good at that because the guy on the ball, he's at a disadvantage.
So a guy can just take the ball over
Yes.
his shoulder and run over.
Yes, that's what I'm told. That's what I'm told.
As you move forward, if this stays long term and you think about putting a team together, are 2 big ingredients guys that can really shoot it and a big time shot blocker in the post?
Yes, our head of officials, Curtis Shaw, looked at our whole team and said, you are going to get all the jump shots, all the 10 or 15 footers you want. As many as you possibly want, you're going to get them.
Why would anybody settle for a 15-foot jump shot? Why wouldn't anybody just go to the basket, shoot a layup?
You can't charge.
Good.
In other words, is that what
Good question.
What you're describing?
That's you and I are thinking a lot alike, Barry. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like this can pan out.
I think they're trying to really get us to really sell it. You're not going to, it's offense. You give that, But, as I told our team, if you're sitting in the paint, just sitting there having a sandwich and somebody runs over you, come on, what are they going to do? But they're saying they're not going to call. He told us they have told the referees, do not call a charge in the paint.
Can the offense foul?
The offense foul? I don't know. Now, the charge rule limit, we're still trying to figure it all out. It's more coming to weak side help. You will not come from the weak side and get a charge. Now, they say you can run over the guy in front of you who's guarding you, and you might get a charge. You might. But if a weak side guy comes in where 90% of all charges come into play, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. So he told our guys, don't take it. Try to block the shot. Don't sit there and try to take a charge. You need to be a shot-blocking team. He sit there and do not take it. This goes against every principle every coach has ever done. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not complaining about it at all. I kind of like that aspect of it.
The targeting deal, and it's kind of settled.
This is more drastic. I think this is extremely more drastic.
You see it settling at some point. I mean, if you were predicting.
I think so. Okay. I think they're really going to really put then the referees have settled in. What they're saying is what he told us. This is not an emphasis. This is what we were told. This is not an emphasis. It is a rule. They put it in the rule book now. If you touch the ball handler, it's a foul. So, every year they have emphasis. 1 year it might be traveling. 1 year, 2 or 3 emphasis. 1 year it's the block charge call. Or he said this is not an emphasis. We have added this to the rule book. If a ball handler facing the rim is touched in any way, it is a foul.
Cater to the low and mid majors in the NCAA.
I've already said it. It's going to equal it out. Your early games, our early games, first through, you get in a foul shooting match or one team's fouling more than others who have, it's going to equal it out. I do believe that. I think it will equal out the. It helps probably the less talented a little bit.
Maybe less athletic team that really can shoot
it. One team's figured it out earlier. A little bit earlier than the other team, how to, it's going to take teams to adjust a while. I really believe that. I believe that absolutely. It's going to come into fact. Obviously, free throw shooting becomes more and more important. It changes the game. There's no, but with that said, I'm not making a big deal about it with our team and all that. We're not. It's the rules. Let's adapt. Let's become a great defensive team within the rules. Get up a lot of extra shooting.
How do you become a great defensive team under this scenario?
Rotations, team defense. Make them take as many challenge shots in front of you as you can. Make them take shots over you rather than around you. How do you do that? Well, you can keep going down how you do that. But that's going to be the challenge of it. It's not, great weak side deep. Luckily, like Marcus Smart's a great. He's whatever he was in the country last year in steals. Most of those came off the ball. You got some on the ball, but a lot of them off the ball. You just become a great team defense. It's not going to be about one-on-one defense. It's going to be great rotations, being in the right place at the right time, and try to force the offense as best you can to where you want to force them, wherever your philosophy is.
It would seem like more than ever, I guess. Most coaches have always preached play defense with your feet, not your hands.
This is
seems like this is
the headline. Play defense. We're saying that word a lot. We're saying our calls play defense with your feet and show your palms out here. I want to see them. You get in here, I can't see them. I want to see them out here. Show your palms. Get them out here so the referee knows you're not touching them. So. And I'm not 100%. I actually, it's kind of interesting. We'll see. We'll see.
When you keep saying they want.
It's official. Yeah.
Who is they?
The officials. I'm not sure who came up with. I think there's actually some head coaches on a committee. I couldn't tell you who they are exactly, but it's the officials, the head of officials, that are implementing this. they're implementing this. Everybody, I got 100 questions last year on why is the game the score so low. I didn't have I guess that's what they've figured out. One of the reasons is, I guess.
That said, early on in practice, how is and I know you're just 3 weeks into it, how's your team been shooting as a
Pretty
shooting
good.
team?
Pretty good. Actually, I'd say it's been one of the better things we've done to this point.
However old Marcus is, 18, 19, 20, I forget. Don't you wish every kid would get it like Marcus gets it?
Oh, yeah, sure I do. Yeah, absolutely. That would be great. Our jobs would be a lot easier. But there's not many people like Marcus who approach his job or what he does like anybody, not just our players, like anybody. I mean, we have scouts come in here they're here every day, 5 to 6, 7. We had 10 here the other day, whatever. And I tell them all the same thing. I said, some of them have seen him play live. Some of them have, I said, well, before he gets out there, you're about to see the hardest working guy out here, and he'll be the most vocal. Well, I said, no, I don't care what day you come. I don't care what day you come. I don't care if it's the second practice of the day, or the day after a game, or the day before a game, or whatever it may be. He does it the same way every single day I've ever been around the young man. As hard as he possibly can, with the most enthusiasm and energy, and he's always leading and talking in everything that he does. I think that's uncommon for anybody. I think it's uncommon. So it's my expectations. I don't expect to have everybody like that. I hope some of it rubs off, and it can become contagious within our program, where it rubs off on Leighton Hammonds and Jeffrey Carroll and Kamari Murphy, and then when Marcus is gone, they're acting like that, and then whoever comes in next year's as a freshman, and hopefully you could get a resemblance of it, but there's not many. That lead and get it like he gets it. There's not many.
That said, of any of his experiences, have you seen an impact? For instance, the Olympic training camp or anything that he's gone through. Have you noticed, wow, Marcus has changed a little bit after that experience? Or has he just been so consistent? It's been.
Yes, it's hard. It's hard to say. He just does it the same way. I mean, it would be. He doesn't work any harder, because I don't know if you can work harder than he works in practice. I don't know if that's. I can't say he's changed. No, I haven't seen a big change in him. Mm-mm.
That experience with Team USA, do you think they gave him any mental edge? Maybe not his work ethic, but are you seeing something like he's carrying himself differently? Or?
It is. I went out there with him, and because he was really nervous about it. He really was, and he'll tell you he's not humble. He was really nervous about, because these were the best of the best. I mean, besides Kevin and Durant and these guys, it was that next group of guys, and these were a lot of great point guards there, quick ones, from Conley to John Wall. I can go down there. There were tons of quick, and I think he was a little bit nervous, being the only college guy, and I think the first thing he saw was he was more than able to compete. He looked like he'd been there for several years. The way he played, I thought he was terrific. I thought he really looked the part. He played the part. He had no issues. And what he found, I talked to him after the first night. I was with him, and how'd you think it went? And the first thing he said is, Coach, I can't believe some of these guys know who I am. That's how humble he is. And I'm serious. He goes, man, one guy came up and said, man, Marcus, loved watching you play in that whatever game. He couldn't believe the guy actually knew who he was. I mean, he really couldn't grasp, but these guys knew who he was. I'm like, you're the best player in college basketball. He couldn't get that. He thought that was pretty cool. That's pretty humbling. To see somebody say that. I think he talked to him a little bit. From what he says, he talked to him about what's it like to play in the NBA. What would you do? What would you prepare for differently if you got there? Stuff like that. But I think more than anything, he saw that, hey, I can play with these guys, and I think that was the biggest thing he saw.
Did he bring any extra leadership attributes back with him from that, from the other guys,
Not really. Again, not literally. I'm sure he brought some things back that he learned and talked to the guys about that, hey, they do this. These NBA guys do this. This is how they warm up, or this is how, because we talk to our guys all the time about, NBA, if you go to NBA camp, man, these guys, they don't wait for the strength and conditioning coach to stretch them. They stretch on their own. Their body is their business. They're out there not being told to get up jump shots before and after practice. They get them up on their own. Pretty much any NBA camp you go to, that's the way it is. You don't have to tell them to get there an hour or 2 hours before practice starts. They understand that as a professional, this is what you do. So some of those things I'd encouraged him to look at, because I'd been around it quite a bit. Look at how these guys, the things that they do without being told, because they get it as a professional. This is, if they want to keep a contract, keep making money, they know they have to do this. And I think he saw some of those things from a lot of those players.